Assalamualaikum and welcome to part 2 on time value of money. This video will show you on the annuity as well as the mixed cash flows concept for both present value and future value. Talking about cash flows, they can be divided into two types. Okay, the first one is annuity cash flows, where involve a stream of equal or even periodic cash flows. And the second one is we call as mixed cash flow stream, where involve a series of unequal or uneven cash flows reflecting no particular pattern. So example of even cash flow, okay, like what I show here. Okay, you will have equal cash flow on every period. Okay, for example, here you have 100 ringgit for every period. And for mixed cash flows, this is a series of unequal or uneven cash flows. So in each period, you might have different cash flows, and it doesn't represent any particular pattern. Okay, maybe on the first year 100, and then 200, and then 500. It can also be negative 100 and so on. And as for the annuity itself, there are also two types of annuity. Okay, the first one is ordinary annuity, where each cash flow of an ordinary annuity belongs to the cash flows at the end of the period, while the cash flow of an annuity due refers to the cash flow period starting beginning of the period. Okay, let me show the difference here. Okay, for the ordinary annuity, the cash flow appears at the end of the period. Okay, meaning to say here, okay, while for annuity due, the cash flow will appear at the beginning of the period. So instead of here, it will appear here. Okay, so this is the beginning of year 1, and here is the ending of year 1, beginning of year 2. Okay, so this is the difference between these two types of annuity. This is the example to find future value of an ordinary annuity. Please refer to the timeline and notice that each cash flow of $1,000 appear at the end of the year 1 and end of year 2 until end of year 5. Okay, here. Using Formula 1, where PMT refers to payment of 1,000, you can find the future value of ordinary annuity by plug in the 5.5% for R and 5 years for N. Another choice is that for you to use financial table of future value interest factor annuity to find the annuity factor and use Formula 2 to get the answer. For the annuity due, on the other hand, notice that the timeline that each cash flow of 1,000 appear at the beginning of year 1, beginning of year 2, until beginning of year 5. Thus, to calculate the future value of an annuity due, you just need to multiply with 1 plus R, okay, at the end of the same formula. Okay, this is actually the same formula used to find ordinary annuity. But for annuity due, you just need to add this 1 plus R. The same concept applies when you want to find present value of an annuity, either ordinary or annuity due. Try to properly observe the difference from the future value annuity, especially in the formula given. If you opt to use financial table, then you are supposed to use present value interest factor annuity table to find the right factor. In finding present value of an annuity due, you still need to apply with 1 plus R, okay, at the end of both methods, okay, whether you use formula or you use financial table. Now let us look at the example of mixed or uneven cash flow stream, meaning instead you have similar cash flow in each period. With mixed cash flow, you will have different cash flow at every period, okay, like what you seen here in the slide, okay, where you get different cash flow at every period. Or you can also see a combination of annuity and single cash flow in a mixed stream. And this is the example of mixed cash flow stream that have a combination of annuity here and single cash flows. These are all single cash flows. And the cash flow can also be positive or negative. Now let us quickly look on how you can calculate present value of a perpetuity. Okay, perpetuity is a payment of equal periodic cash flows which to be made till infinity or forever. Okay, so this is what we call as perpetuity. So with this formula, okay, you can simplify into this. Let us look on one example of perpetuity, where Shazrin has invested in a special government bond that provides income on investment of Rm 100 ringgit per annum in perpetuity. Determine the present value of this perpetual annuity if you are told that the time value of money is 8% per annum. So if you look at the solution here, use the simplified formula and for you to arrive with this answer. In the case of growing perpetuity, where the interest rate is expected to grow at a certain rate, you can use this formula by incorporating G, okay, here as the growth rate. The last thing that I want to share is on the difference between stated and effective annual rate. You might one day encounter these terms when you start to borrow money from any financial provider. So when banks charge interest, the stated interest rate is often used instead of effective annual rate to make clients believe that they are paying a lower interest rate. For example, for a loan at a stated interest rate of 10% compounded monthly, the effective annual interest rate would be 10.47%. Okay, you can try to calculate using this formula. So in such scenarios, banks will typically advertise the stated interest rate instead of the effective interest rate, okay, to attract their client, because the stated interest rate will be lower compared to the effective interest rate. As a conclusion, I hope now you understand why much of finance area involve finding future and present value. The time value of money is the central of all financial valuation techniques. Okay, and time value of money also regarded in financial mathematics as part and a fundamental of engineering economics relating to financial and economic analysis. With that, thank you and Assalamualaikum.